Hi.
All right, let's do it. Daily Stoic time, March 11th. Living without restriction.
Okie dokie.
We are going to start with a quote by Epictetus. The unrestricted person who has in hand what they will in all events is free. But anyone who can be restricted, coerced, or pushed into something against what they will is a slave. Okay, I think I have an interpretation on this after reading it. Okay. So the unrestricted person means a free person.
Mm-hmm.
So a free person, the next part of the quote is, who has in hand what they will in all events. That part tripped me so up. Okay, so what I think it means is who has in hand, like they have this in store for themselves. Like this is part of their reality. Like they have it in hand already.
Mm-hmm.
What they will, what they want, so they have what they want in all events and under all situations is free.
Mm-hmm.
So the person who has what they want is free.
Mm-hmm.
But anyone who can be restricted, coerced, or pushed into something against what they will is a slave.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have what you will, you're free. But if you do something against your will because you've been restricted, coerced, or pushed, that makes you a slave.
Hmm. Yeah, this one speaks to me in a way like have like life will try to do certain restrictions on me, or it wants to restrict me from something, and essentially like don't let it, just keep pushing to what you want, even though there will be obstacles. That's somehow I'm reading it like that.
Yeah, like keep your will alive.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your will alive. Okay.
Cool. Do you want to read Ryan's interpretation?
Yeah. There is one thing, though, about the quote that I still have, which is more like a curiosity. And it's, now I'm starting to wonder, because, they talk about this importance of not feeling restricted. But sometimes life, there is an actual restriction that makes you then change your strategy for doing something.
Yeah.
And so then is he saying that the person who is free is the one who can learn how to be flexible with their will when they bump up against these restrictions, or someone tries to manipulate you or coerce you into doing something, and now like you wanted one version of reality, but that's not going to happen because you have a restriction or somebody's trying to manipulate you in some way. And so like you still need to bend. It's not as if like you can just plow forward
through, right.
doing life however you want, because you will be get pushback on that. So I'm wondering if that is still like not so clear to me in the whole Stoic thing. I think it's like it's trying to like develop that as a
Yeah,
thought.
like maybe like not plowing through it, but maybe just like yes, you're gonna have to adjust and shift. You have to be flexible in those moments, but maybe what it's saying is like, but don't give up on it.
Yeah.
Like you're like, yeah, there will be deviations from your plan during that time. Yeah, be flexible because otherwise you break or something, right? So it's like the flexibility is super important. But don't say this is an obstacle that will stop you. Flex and go around, do other things, but keep going, because only that's when you're free, if you keep doing the things that you want to, you're pursuing the things that you want.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about this right
Mhm.
now. Okay, let's read what Ryan has to say.
Mhm.
Take a look at some of the most powerful, rich, and famous people in the world. Ignore the trappings of their success and what they're able to buy. Look instead at what they've forced to trade in return. Look at what success has cost them. Mostly, freedom. Their work demands they wear a suit. Their success depends on attending certain parties, kissing up to people they don't like. It will require, inevitably, realizing they are unable to say what they actually think. Worse, it demands that they become a different type of person or do bad things. Sure, it might pay well, but they haven't truly examined the transaction. As Seneca put it, slavery resides under marble and gold. Too many successful people are prisoners in jails of their own making. Is that what you want? Is that what you're working hard toward? Let's hope not.
Yeah, I think we're on to the um, right track.
How can we make this useful? And here's why I'm asking that, because, he gives this example of like their work demands they wear a suit. And so like this makes me think of like, well, not everybody would necessarily feel coerced into wearing a suit. Like, is there a version of life where, I mean, he's kind of talking about like, I was imagining Hollywood for some reason, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, it kind of also looks like he's talking about like the 9-to-5 situation.
Yeah.
So is that what you were thinking? The 9-to-5?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That's funny. I'm like literally thinking of like, oh, it's the Oscars and they're like kissing up to people. But is there a way where you can engage with that lifestyle and have it be like the thing that you have chosen for yourself actively, and that like this, I am living according to my will and I've somehow like navigated it? So like the passage for me felt kind of like we were looking at why a specific lifestyle was not free. But I wonder if it's more like our approach to the lifestyle that makes it free or unfree. And that therefore you could be the person who's in Hollywood or the 9-to-5 job and be living according to freedom, where you wouldn't be letting yourself be restricted or coerced or pushed into something. Like, does that exist?
Yeah, that's a good question. It only probably exists if you don't think of it as that, right? So like, hey, like you're saying, like, hey, putting on, let's say you have to wear a suit for work every day. Like, instead of saying, oh my God, I have to wear this suit, this sucks, you can look at it as like, hey, I'm gonna go pick some cool suit and some cool ties and shirts, and make that to be the like iconic part of who you are, type of a thing, in that environment. And now you're actually using it to kind of stand out a little bit, right? Which helps you with, if you look at the, like Robert Greene's, those 48 laws of power, like elevate, like standing out is one of those things, right? So you could use it towards helping you to be noticed more, to grow your network, to do all kinds of things, right? So it's how we're looking at it, right? So now you might give me an example that I would be like, oh no, I don't like that, right? Let's say, like, it got me thinking of like all these jobs have like like you have to record your hours, like what did you do, right? And like how much hours did you spend on it, and like they're making this like a tracking thing, right? And it's like I'm like, oh, like I have to bend to that, right? For example, like it would not be my choice,
funny. Yeah.
but I feel like, okay, I have to kind of put up with this thing. So then I go like, well, how can I make that to be something that's useful for me? Like, oh, like maybe estimating, like I can learn how to estimate my time better by doing this. Like start looking at it differently, even though I've never maybe sat down and thought about like what's, how else can I look at that same thing that's currently kind of bugging me, just to change the view on it, not changing the actual thing, because the actual thing is not going away because it's, let's say, part of your job or requirements or something like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing from you is that if you make it an active choice, which makes sense, if you make it an active choice, then it's something within your will, and you are not being coerced or restricted or pushed into doing it.
Now that's hard, right? Because we have the approach of like, I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't like it. I hate it. I don't want to be part of it. That's the first that's the first reaction to it, because it's doing all of this, forcing me into something I don't want to do, let's say, right? Like that's the first thing, right? Like that comes up, and now if we just leave it there, now that's the package we're carrying with us. But all I'm saying is that we need to go further into it and say now, like, okay, so this is the first initial kind of feeling or kind of an idea about it, and like let's see what positive thing I can find in it, if anything. Maybe I can't find anything in it. It's okay. But at least I try to find something that would make me look at that same thing from this different angle that's more pleasant, and especially if I have to deal with it, if I actually cannot avoid it or something like that. Now, yeah.
Let me chew on that for a second. Okay, I want to pull out of that, like, the thought that you have, or I notice this a lot, is like, I don't want to. So there's probably, if I just like look at the collection of things that come up that I react to, like, I don't want to do that. There's probably some of them that I should change, and I have kind of the power and the control to change them, but maybe it involves some communication that feels awkward to me or something, and so I'd rather almost like stuff it down and say, okay, I'll do the thing that I don't really want to do to avoid having this conversation with this person or something like that. So like that certainly happens a lot, which makes sense because it's like you want to choose the lower calorie solution to a problem. So in that moment, that's like a lower calorie solution. So I get why it's happening. But it is interesting to know that like there's a bunch of things in that category that I would feel more in control over, and I would probably feel more empowered in my day if I did the higher calorie task in that moment, which is, okay, I don't want to do this. I need to change it somehow so that it works for me, but it also works for this other person. And that's going to involve some negotiation and like doing that whole thing. And then there's probably some that are kind of non-negotiable that just need to get done. And those are the ones that kind of what you were talking about with the time estimates, which I'm getting into now of like, now that I just started a new job of tracking all my time. And it's funny because I feel so much like I've made that decision for myself. Like this is for, I'm going to learn how to, I mean, also my KPI is profitability, so it makes sense, but it's like, okay, cool. Like, this is so that we can actually have like a really good sense of how profitable we are. And I can see the value in that. And so then for me, it's not this annoying sort of busy work. It's something I'm actively participating in. And I actually like want to get more involved in it. Because of that mindset of like, this is good for me, this is healthy, this is going to teach me all of these things I don't know. So the thought of I don't want to do that, I think that is going to be an interesting thought to see if I can pinpoint it when it's happening. And if I can make some of this philosophy work for me during that time. Either where I realize, okay, I need to say no or shift something, and how am I going to do that? Or how am I going to turn this into something, an active choice?
Just keep trying. That's our job, right? Just keep trying it, keep trying it, keep trying it. And then something, maybe 10 times it will be the same, and then something shifts maybe, Fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's see how we can use it. Maybe report back.
Report back, yeah.